Hi, I'm Jackie, and I'm addicted to Survivor.
Hi, I'm Molly, and I'm addicted to Survivor.
And now the latest scourge on television, reality TV.
So I have to say, I was really worried this week at the very end. I was really worried for my Jakey boy.
You know, Jakey boy needs to figure out how to put a thought together because he's an attorney.
I wrote down in my notes that I think he's going to be a good attorney in the future, but I don't think he's a good one now.
Dude, but think about it. How is he going to make a pitch to a jury, whether it's on Survivor or in his profession, if he has to he can't get a thought out of his head, and then he's asking permission to start over, basically. Right?
He's like a puppy dog in that way. Yeah.
Do you mind if I make a pitch?
That felt like it was in the middle of a business meeting. I felt like we were pitching taglines for a new product there. Like, that's what that felt like. That was very strange.
That was terrible. And okay, let's talk about the rest of the episode before we dive deep into Survival.
Yeah, okay. So at the beginning, the first thing that I wrote down was Emily and Drew. Somebody's calling me. I'm not going to answer it. Doesn't matter. Emily and Drew in lockstep. And I don't like them as a pair. I like Emily. Like, I liked Emily for a while, and now I'm back to not liking her like I was the first episode.
She's too robotic.
Yeah, I don't like that she's paired up with Drew. I don't like Drew. I don't think Drew is a good player. I don't like watching him play.
Yeah, well, they're both the same that way.
Yes.
And that's one thing that I didn't like about her comparison to Chaos Kaz.
Yeah,
because Kaz has a personality.
Yeah, I don't think that she's anything like Chaos Kaz anymore.
No.
There was potential, but I think the potential has 100% disappeared.
Because I never even considered Kaz to be feisty in a aggressive sort of way.
Agree.
So, again, bad casting note.
They really should have at least like one or two fans on the casting panel every season.
Well, at this point, they probably do. I can't imagine that they don't.
Yeah, but I feel like it should be I think it should be different people every season. Like, if they're keeping the same two people every season, I don't think it counts, because then just eventually they're part of the staff. I don't know. I think it needs to be something to be kept fresh, but also people that are fans.
Consultants.
Mm-hmm. So the first weird thing that happens is a boat drives up to the camp and lays out a table with these plates on it. And then they have to run out to the jungle and find bamboo tubes full of money.
That was like the awkwardest Easter egg hunt that Bruce wanted no part of.
He is one of those people that intentionally does the opposite of what he thinks people expect him to do.
Well, I don't know if he was trying to be the cool kid in the room, or if he was legitimately tired, or what his situation was, but there has to be a reason for you to gather as many as you can as quickly as you can. What are you fighting against?
Yeah, exactly. It infuriated me. I don't like watching him at all. He is a terrible player. He's a terrible player.
Yes.
Also, have we talked about the new tribe name yet? I don't think we did last week.
No.
I wrote it down, and I don't even know if I can pronounce it. It's like Daku Waka.
Was that what was uttered when somebody stubbed their toe? Ha ha ha.
I looked it up. Hold on. I forgot, of course, already. Dakuwaka in Fijian mythology is a shark deity and often appears as a fierce sea monster guarding the islands.
Who came up with that nonsense?
I do not know. I don't remember them ever talking about it. I just saw it listed when they went to camp one time. I was like, oh, that's what they named the tribe. Let me see what that means.
Ay, ay, ay.
I kind
So
of liked the twist of making them go out and get their own money. I liked that part of the auction twist.
I liked it because they didn't know what they were doing it for yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I liked about it a lot. And so it allowed Bruce to be dead weight because
Yep.
if you don't want to hustle for it, then you're last place, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then here's who was it? D that had the most.
Yes.
So it kind of showed, obviously they're not going to say you had the most, so now let's reverse everything and you have the least. No, the most effort got the most money with the most ability, and what came next.
Mm-hmm.
So I really, really liked the way that they did it. I liked that they confused them at first because I was thinking, is this a merge feast without food?
Yeah. And I know in the preview they teased that they were going to do the auction with a twist or whatever, and so I've been kind of turning around in my head what the twist could possibly be. And I feel like if they're going, in my brain, I felt like if they were going to go old school, that maybe they would have done something where they did make them eat gross things in order to get the good things.
Right.
But like that would be an interesting twist. I don't think I would want to see that though, because I'm so tired of watching people eat gross things. Like, why was that a part of our society for such a long time?
And I don't know, and maybe they did that because of fear factor. I don't know, or maybe they did it because, hey, you're surviving, you should be eating grubs anyway. I
Ugh.
don't know. But I like how everything was particularly worded. This is an auction for food.
Mm-hmm.
you know, there was no vagueness about that. There was no hang on to it, maybe you'll get a letter from home. There was none of that.
Yep. And I don't remember who ended up with the candy, but all I could think about was how sad that little candy dish was compared to the massive jar of lollies that Shawnee got on
Oh, of
her
course.
season at the auction.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think the foods were good. They weren't bad, except for those fish eyeballs. I don't know what the hell that was.
Yeah, poor Couture didn't get shit.
Well, but that's the point of it. Everybody's not going to get something to eat.
Yes. And I liked having the chalkboard back there because in my brain always had trouble keeping up with who had how much money left. So that was
Right.
nice.
Right. And not just for the viewing audience, but for they themselves to figure out,
Mm-hmm.
who am I competing against at this point?
Although I feel like it got to a point where it was just whoever had the most money left was bidding on the auction item, and that got kind of boring.
Right. That got kind of boring, but that was the point because, at the end, the person with the least amount of money ends up with no vote.
Mm-hmm. No, the most amount of money.
Well, right. And that ends up draining resources in a smart way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I see that aspect of
And
it as well.
and the other twist, was Jeff pulling a number out, so you didn't know when it was going to be over, but you knew that there
Yeah,
was going to be an end. And Jeff didn't even know when it was going to end necessarily.
I was praying for it to end at the at Bruce losing his vote, even though it didn't do much good of anything.
Yeah, he didn't. I'm shocked that he won immunity,
Me too. I was so disappointed.
and I think he was even more surprised.
You know what I was surprised with? How long Julie held on in that.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Like, I know I personally couldn't even make it past one knot. I don't think I could have at any point in my life. Like, I would be terrible at those challenges.
Yeah, but another thing that they said is it was your pre-show weight.
1/3 of your pre-show weight, yes.
Right. So, if you haven't really lost a lot of weight
True.
versus you have lost a lot of weight, there's probably a factor in there somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. I loved the twist at the beginning of the immunity challenge with the rice, though.
Oh my God.
The glee on Jeff's face when he stabbed the bag.
That was beautiful.
It really was. Like, you could see a little twinkle in his eye when he was talking about, like, the rice and all of this stuff. And I was like, there's something more to it, Jeff, I can tell. And then he got all even more gleeful as he reached into that box and pulled out the knife and just stabbed the bag.
Make up your mind.
I love putting them under that kind of pressure. And also, I love that Dee was like the first one that stood up and without hesitation said, yes, I will do this.
Maybe her toes hurt.
I think she is probably the biggest threat in the game right now. Like, from a game player perspective.
Well, that's going to end up being revealed because she doesn't really seem like the kind of person to hold back in a challenge so that she doesn't seem like a threat. She seems a little bit too
proud.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't think that she's going to play that smartly, and she's going to look like a challenge beast going forward if she's not careful with that.
Yeah, I can 100% see that. What did you think about when Jake pulled Julie to the side and kind of like came clean to her about him being the one voting for her?
I thought that was honest. I mean, he's trying to reach across the fence and say, hey, it wasn't purposeful. There was a strategic reason why I did this.
Yeah, I really respected him for it. I thought it was a really, really classy move, and I know I keep saying it, I keep preaching on it, but I really do think that he's getting the winners at it, and I think that's just them showing how people ended up voting for him in the end. I feel like it's going to be such a controversial thing that they have to justify it.
I just... Okay. Getting back to Tribal.
Oh, yes.
He was so sure that it was going to be unanimous against him.
He was.
100% sure. I mean, he was all but begging with no words, just stumbling and fumbling through some type of a plea. Right?
I thought he was gone too, honestly. I was so worried for him. I was like, I have been wrong this whole time. I can't believe this. Jake is leaving.
I mean, he's gesticulating across to Caleb so grandly, that he didn't want to vote for Caleb, and he was the one that was trying to save Caleb, and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, shut up. Because I thought what he was doing was he was talking himself into being voted for.
Yeah. I got worried. It wasn't a pretty tribal council for him, and he really lucked out. But also, I think that move is really going to expose Austin as a big threat. And how many idols does he have now?
Who, Austin?
Yes.
I lost count. He's got an Uno deck over there.
Because Kelly leaving makes that one a full power idol. So he's got at least 2, maybe 3.
I think it's 2.
Okay, because I can't remember if he played one already or not.
I don't know. He's played other advantages, but I don't think he's played an idol, no.
Okay.
So, the naiveness of Jake.
Yes.
This felt like the most inept pep rally or inept, high school assembly that you would ever see, right? This is like a bad 80s movie characterization of all of this stuff. Because
Mm-hmm.
when Jeff is reading Jake, 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 and Jake's over there like Eeyore,
Yeah.
or oh, woe is me. And then once Jeff starts reading Kelly's name, and Kelly's looking around like the prom queen that isn't getting her votes.
Yes.
What is it? Kendra's back there. Her eyes are popping out of her head.
Kendra's expression was wild.
I thought she was going to have a meltdown.
Yeah.
So then Jake starts getting this look on his face like, and once Jeff announces that it's Kelly, and Jake goes, whoa, and then looks at Kelly and goes, whoa, as if he has to repeat it in a lower voice to take
Because he
back.
felt bad.
I was like, that's priceless, because you've already yelled out whoa. You don't have to redo it, you weirdo.
Well, what's even better is if you watch the preview for next week, he says whoa in almost the exact same way.
I know.
It's
I
going to
know.
be his signature.
But then also, as Jeff is reading the votes and starts reading Kelly's name, and then Jake goes, wow, somebody's playing Survivor.
I know. Like,
What the hell?
like he's got, like, I don't want to say this lightly, but he's got a little bit of shades of George, a little bit with the coming clean with Julie, and just like the saying shit balls out like that at Tribal. I have high hopes for Jake. But I'm still worried that he's gonna like die somehow. He's gonna like get medicaled out of the game because he keeps falling over.
I thought he was having a medical episode during that Tribal. Jesus.
I thought Kendra was having a medical episode during that Tribal.
And then Kelly looks over at Austin. Did you do this? And Austin's like, yep.
Yeah, Austin. Like, if they don't get Austin out soon, they are all very dumb. Because after D, I think he's big threat. I think it goes D, Austin, and then I don't know, threat-wise. From a game player perspective.
But I think Austin has lucked his way into where he is more than played his way into where he is. Because he had a pocket full of tricks.
Yeah, he still has a fucking pocket full of tricks.
Right, but that's my point is, he hasn't been top dog all this time.
Yeah. And people, like a lot of people don't even know about his tricks yet either.
Right, but you only have so many get out of jail free cards, and then once your pocket's empty, you don't.
But then people were willing to work with him on this vote. Like he made the Kelly thing. Kelly's, or who? Was that Drew? Did Drew pitch that?
Drew wanted it because Emily came to Drew and said, hey, they're going to do an all-girls alliance.
Yeah, which, come on, fucking Emily. I shook my head at the microphone in case you couldn't hear that.
Because the only reason why they wanted to do that is because they have the numbers to do it. There's no reason to do it.
Yeah.
The alliances don't line up to do it. And to me, it makes no sense to do it.
And even in Kelly's exit interview thingy, she said that was just like idealistic talk. Like it was never a serious consideration in gameplay at all.
Emily's a snitch.
Yeah, she is. That was one of the things. She's like, oh, there's just like no trusting you. Go away. Go away. I'm sorry for defending you and making you my pick ever.
Here, put it in the burn book.
However, I do think that Kendra is a pretty good. I think she's another low key one to watch. I don't think she's a threat yet.
I'm not on board.
I don't know. There's something about her that just feels good to me. I mean, like aside from Tribal, though, it was kind of the auction was fun, but once it was obvious whoever had the money was just going to get whatever was next. It kind of got boring. Strategy is strategy.
Do you know what a good twist on that would be for next time?
What's that?
Is if you're able to give your money to somebody else.
Ooh, yeah.
So, like, if you bid on, for example, the chips and the beer,
Mm-hmm.
and then you still have money left, and it gets towards the end, and somebody else wants food, you can give them your money, and they're going to run the risk of having the most at the end.
I like that.
Exactly.
And they can't refuse the money.
No, 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 no. They could refuse it, but, if they still want food, because to your point, if the food's going to go to the person with the next highest amount,
Yeah. What?
throw somebody $80 so that they can get a cheeseburger.
So Dee spent $900 on a milkshake.
That was asinine.
What, out of the food options that were on the auction block, which one would you have been most excited about?
I don't know, because at that point, anything would be good,
Yeah.
first of all. But second of all, every time I watch something like that, I'm thinking to myself, I've been on, when I was much, much younger, I went on the Slim Fast diet, right?
Mm-hmm.
For like 6 or 8 weeks. The first amount of real food I had after that, it was not pretty.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It was not pretty at all. So every time I watch these shows and they're like, oh, I'm starving, I haven't eaten any real food in 10 days. Here's a cheeseburger. Here's a milkshake. Here's chocolate cake for you.
It's when
No.
they drink all the alcohol that gets me. Like, you haven't had any real food or like probably enough water in weeks, and you're gonna just huff down the beers. I'm sure they taste delicious though. I can't imagine how good a beer tastes out there.
Ugh.
Ugh. I also read in the interview how they do the auctions and like how the food is prepared and stuff. They basically just have like a little kitchen back there with refrigerators and everything. But like, if they were different shaped French fries, I think I would have gone for the French fries.
Oh my God. Now you're going to go there.
Yeah. I probably would have gone for the French fries anyway. But I honestly thought the pretzels and beer was a good one because it's not too much of anything. And I think pretzels would be good on a stomach that hasn't had a lot to eat in a while.
Yeah, but the salt probably wouldn't be very good for you.
Oh, I bet it tastes so good though. Again, salt being outside when you're hot is good.
But again, you look at the food items on Australian Survivor,
Mm-hmm.
where they're getting bread and honey and toasties and things like
Yeah, like a full balance.
things that are more hearty than things
Mm-hmm.
that are snacky necessarily.
Yeah. They're just treated much better. And again, I was reminded at how much nicer Jonathan is to them than Jeff is during the challenges.
Oh yeah.
Mean old Jeff.
Well, that's what makes me think that there's got to be a show. Just do it for charity, and have Jeff and Jonathan and Anderson and all these knuckleheads, and have them do something from their own show.
Yes. Like Cochran can host it. It's fine.
Exactly.
Cochran would be a great host, honestly. That's my really, really delusional theory about Jake right now, is that he's a plant so that the audience falls in love with him so that he can be the host when Jeff retires.
Oh yeah. Put the guy as the host who can't form a sentence without stumbling. That's perfect.
He keeps falling over from whatever.
Don't stand up too fast.
Kelly was just like taken out when she got when she got voted out. Like she was stumbling around there like she was blackout drunk.
Oh, she was so blindsided. She walked up to Jeff without her torch.
Yes. Like I don't, and she like just like dropped her bags somewhere and hugged everybody. It was
Yeah,
a move. It was a move.
that was ugly.
I wonder who's going to be in danger next week.
I guess we'll have to tune in.
Mm-hmm. So who do you got for your winner?
Yeah, I knew you'd ask me that.
Well, if it makes it any easier, mine is still Jake.
Shocker.
Mm-hmm. It's only deviated a couple times. 2 times exactly. 3 times, sorry.
I'm gonna go with D. I think that's who I said last week, right?
That is who you said last week. And
Yep.
honestly, right now, she would be my backup choice because I think she is an excellent player. I think she's playing excellent on all levels of the game. And I also think she's getting a really good at it.
I would put her in the good or great player category. I would not call her excellent by any stretch of the imagination because she doesn't know everything that's going on.
That is true.
So you take some of the other players that we've seen in the past or seen in Australia, and they've got tabs on everything
Yeah.
while still handling their own stuff.
But I mean, in relation to the rest of the contestants on this season.
And that's why she's not excellent.
But it would be fun. I think it would be fun to see her play with excellent players. I think she would rise to the occasion. I mean, her toes would give her another inch at least.
Actually, I don't think it would be measured in inches if it was in Australia.
Oh, yeah, that's true. All right, I think we did the thing. Would you agree?
I agree.
All right. I have been Jackie.
I've been Molly.
Stay tuned.